Welcome. Come on in, everyone. Our topic today is using the EFMP for our special needs military connected child. This is our third Facebook Live on special needs military homeschooling. Next month, we will focus on navigating TRICARE. The first of this series was actually on navigating EFMP, and we had a guest, which was Mariah Schmidt. She is from the National Capital Region from the U.S. Navy EFMP office. So I thank you, Mariah, if you're watching later. Thank you for being my guest. And our second Facebook Live on special needs was with one of our special needs educational consultants, Faith Behrens. Thank you so much, Faith, for being on that live we did last month. And so we are now, like I said, talking about using the EFMP program for your special needs military child. So this is what we're going to get going. So first, what is it? EFMP is the military program for active duty service members who have dependent family members with ongoing medical, mental health, or special education needs. It is required. All active duty members who have a family member in one of these categories must be enrolled. Military homeschooling parents who have children with special needs are required to enroll. The EFMP is a significant resource for military families, but it has several different facets that may be confusing for families. My own family was enrolled in the EFMP due to our middle son's ophthalmological diagnosis. Our guest today will share her family's experience using the EFMP and the benefits that they have gained. So we appreciate you joining us today. So would you please go ahead and share the live right now into your homeschooling community so we can expand our reach, and let us know where you are joining from. Go ahead and put in the comments where you're joining from. We would love to shout you out and say hello to you. As well as any questions that you have, please put those in the comments. I want to also mention replay viewers. Welcome, and we appreciate you watching the replay. Please go ahead and feel free to utilize the comments of the replay. We do check back and do our best to respond to comments that come in then. So this is our 12th Military Facebook Live. And so my name is Natalie Mack, and I am the HSLDA Military Community Outreach Coordinator. To all of my fellow military homeschooling parents joining us on Facebook, we are so glad that you are here. So go ahead and put in the comments, like I mentioned, where you're joining from and any questions. So today, joining me is my dear friend, my Napoli Bella friend, and fellow military homeschooler, Keisha Rami. Keisha and I met in Naples, Italy, and we became good friends. I probably drove her a little bit crazy with my constantly saying, let's do this, let's do that. But we have been friends since then. And like military life goes, our families both received orders elsewhere and we moved on. But the friendship continues among military spouses. And as her family headed to San Diego and my family was sent to Eastern North Carolina, we remained in touch. I remember that she had actively utilized the EFMP, and I knew she could contribute her experiences. Thanks, Keisha, for accepting my guest invitation. And if you can go ahead and just share a little bit about your family with our viewers.
Okay, hello everyone. My family and I are currently living in Millington, Tennessee, near Memphis. And my husband's been in the Navy for 23 years, going on 24 years now.
Awesome.
We have three kids. One has graduated from our homeschool. She's a senior. She's going to be graduating in May from Florida State. We have twins who are seniors in our homeschool. We've homeschooled from the beginning, and now our journey is about in May. It's bittersweet.
Yes. I cannot believe, like when I think about that like your oldest daughter and my middle son Noah are they both they're the exact same?
They're like 2 or 3 weeks apart.
2 or 3 weeks apart, right. One of them, who's oldest? I can't remember.
I think Kalia's older. I think Noah's is October 20 something.
Yes.
Hers is October 8th.
Okay, so just a little bit, right? a little edge. So And the boys, I can't believe the twins are like graduating. So it's time flies. So it's really awesome being military families and how we can still connect and
Right.
sometimes
And pick up, and this you pick up just like you left off.
exactly.
Benefit of military friends.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. So, anyone coming on in, let us know where you're coming in from, and you can go ahead. Do I have it on? Let me see. Hold on one second. I bet you I have it on the
Someone
wrong
from
page. So sorry.
Georgia.
Yep. I see. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, testing requirements for special needs. Thanks for putting that question in the comments. Okay. Thank you so much. So, per Military One Source, the exceptional family member family support helps service members and their families identify and access programs and services. This includes, but it is not limited to, the following: information and referrals for military and community services, education and outreach, information about available local school and early intervention services, a warm handoff to the Exceptional Family Member Program at new duty locations, and non clinical case management, including individualized service plans. So, this is all what the information about the EFMP program. That's pretty much the bullet statements we pull right from Military One Source. So we are going to go ahead and get some questions going and let Keisha begin to share a little bit about how her family used the EFMP program. I know every family has a different story. So if you want to also put some comments about your experiences, hopefully positive, but your experiences would be great in the comments, questions, and where you're joining from as you pop into the live. So when did your family enroll in the EFMP, Keisha? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. We were stationed in Italy, in Naples. It was 2011. We enrolled. They basically we noticed some behavioral issues, and we just talked to the doctor, and he recommended a neuro evaluation. And from there, we enrolled in the FMP. Once we moved to San Diego, back to the States, they had just more resources available in the States. It could entail what resources were available to him to get some help. We found it to be pretty helpful because he was offered, basically, there's like a category list. They start 1 to 5, 1 being severe at all. That is the most severe
Okay.
category. And so when he was diagnosed with functioning autism, he was at a category 5,
Okay.
which was the highest you can get. So
Yes.
once we moved back to the States, he had access to behavioral therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. They offered us respite care also. We didn't take advantage of that.
Okay.
Oh, also social skills,
Social
kind of
skills.
like the whole
Okay.
gamut. And it followed us, wherever we moved, we had access to it. We found it to be a pretty reliable source in getting him the help that we need because we didn't know anything. We didn't know much.
Right. I understand.
It was a new area for us.
Okay.
Behavioral therapy, the therapist came to our home 3 times a week.
Uh-huh.
And she basically just had a lineup of activities she wanted done. It was just all about instructions. He was 7, 8 at the time. So just, she worked well with him and she was there for maybe an hour and a half and she would just talk to him,
Okay.
behavior. And
Right.
she made it fun. She made it engaging at this age. The speech therapy, that's been ongoing. The occupational therapy, not so much. He had pretty good gross and motor skills, so he didn't need that too much.
Uh-huh.
And the social skills was weak.
Okay.
I'd say our experience has been pretty positive, and because my boys are twins,
Yeah.
even though only one was diagnosed, the twin was able to get some of the care, not under EFMP because
Right.
he wasn't old, but some of the social skills classes, speech therapy, he was able to get access to.
Okay.
Just they're talking to each other. One is speaking poorly, the other one is picking up. developing those habits. So that was important.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I see some comments coming in about Jana says we're diagnosed level 2. So I know that level 1 to 5. I believe, if I remember correctly, because our middle son that was in the EFMP program is 2021. Yeah, I can remember my child's age. You start to remember. Okay, middle son, how old are you? At 21. So but I remember that I think he was a 4. And so some of those categories can require you're not able to relocate to certain duty stations because the services may not be available. And so I know often families would rather not enroll because of that type of possible negative consequence. For example, you were able to come overseas, but he hadn't been diagnosed yet. So I know
Right,
sometimes
right,
families can't do that overseas assignment, or it means that, of course, the needs of the military, right, may mean that the service member will have to go ahead to that assignment, and then the family stays at the location where the services are available. So yeah, I'm
we
glad to
were
hear that
we
you're
were limited to 5 locations. We could
you
go
were
to Bremerton, San Diego, DC, Mayport, Florida, Norfolk. Those are the 5. Once we got our orders from Naples, that's what we were told we can go. 5
that's
locations.
oh, got you. Okay.
But that's
So yeah,
because he was category 5. He was category 5. I think every category. Once we got down to like level 3 or 2, we had more.
right. You have more options. Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yes. I remember when we were with Noah, we were at Camp Pendleton, California, and there were, they were saying, well, I don't know, because of his diagnosis with congenital bilateral cataracts, which of course they were removed, but it still was a scary time to, like, okay, first to get the diagnoses, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
well, we got ours at birth because obviously it's congenital. So when he was born and they did the red reflex check, there wasn't
Right.
anything. So we knew, but still, no matter when you get the diagnosis, it's
Yeah.
still like, okay, that's an adjustment. And then you have to figure out, okay, how I'm going to get what my child needs. And you have the
Right.
EFMP, but then sometime, like we talked about, it means you can't go places that, and some of military life is about the adventure of going someplace
Right.
new, right?
Those are the perks. Those are the perks.
Those are the perks, right? We know some of the things that are really hard to deal with, right, in military life, but that's a
Right.
perk. So definitely. Thanks for the comments coming in. I love it. Anyone else joining us, please go ahead and put comments. Let us know also where you are joining from. We appreciate it. So I also remember receiving emails about the monthly activities. So did you all get to participate in activities, because they will have, all kinds of activities that are always
They
offered.
they offered a lot of activities. Where we were living in San Diego wasn't close to the base. It was
Okay.
like, and they were young. It was really hard to just pick them up at that. But we did take advantage of social skills classes, which were weekly, monthly, and they were basically in a classroom, not classroom, more like a play group setting with other neurodiverse children,
Okay.
where it could run the gamut, ADD, ADHD, all kinds of things, and just learning to, pick up on gesturing, language skills. They actually graduated from that it took about a year. They were able to play groups where they
Got you.
learned how to be
Got you.
outside of
So
each other because they had no problem socializing with each
exactly. And you and I have talked quite a bit about that, about, yeah, the twins. And if anyone else is joining us that has twins or triplets or anything, any multiples, right? Or if you watch the
other.
replay and you do, let us know, because we talked about that, how, like you said, they were fine with each other, obviously being twins. And they didn't really, it was you being the mom, hearing the diagnosis, knowing, seeing that, okay, something needs to be done to help socially, right, with my son, but you knew he was fine if you left him alone as
Right,
well, right?
right. They have the ability. It's just kind of socially, and that was another thing with the diagnosis. first, the regular pediatrician was saying, they're just twins, they're boys, basically slower, they'll catch up type thing. Like,
Right.
no, I think this is more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the twin thing kind of made the doctors think it was a big deal
Right.
until they got older. Then they were like, oh, you need some assistance.
Right. Which your mom knowledge, your mom brain and
Right.
heart knew, oh, no, something's going on. And sometimes it's hard to get the medical professionals, right, to just listen to us and take action.
And right. And we just needed a referral because once the neurological psychologist saw the psychologist, yeah, once they saw him, he said, oh, this is whereas the regular pediatrician rushed about. But we just needed a referral.
You just need a referral, right?
Just
To get
bypass.
bypass quickly, right?
Let's get to a specialist.
Got you. I understand. I hear you. And I want to let everyone that's commenting, thank you. Keep the comments coming. I will get to those towards the end. So I want you to know that I do see your comments. I'm not ignoring them. I know I did shout out a few here and there, but I'm trying to make sure I go through the questions so you can get the content that you need. And I'll make time. Definitely, we're going to get to the comments and any questions. So just keep putting them in there. We won't forget you. So,
but I do want to comment about I just wanted to comment on the monthly activities. I did receive emails. They were very good at communicating with me. They had different arts and crafts classes specifically for kids in the EFMP program, and they had like monthly movie dates, basically, where the lights would be lowered and the sound would be decreased, or the lights would be raised and the sound would be decreased to not like over
sensory,
sensory sense, like not to overload the senses. So like I said, it was hard to just get out.
Got you.
Plus homeschool.
Yeah. Well, that's the other piece is that, how do I say this delicately? I say this from a place of my own experience, right? With a child with special needs because of because of the vision challenges, right? And so I say it from a place of love, but it's if you think about it, you have homeschooling and that responsibility that you want to, but then you have these appointments and you have to, your calendar and your time doesn't always fit the time available for this like social class or this doctor's appointment. And you have other children. We used to pack up everybody and like, okay, we got to go down to Balboa down at San Diego, right? To the hospital for appointments or operation surgeries. And everyone, we had to pack up all the book bags,
their workbooks,
workbooks,
just whatever you were using.
Yeah, whatever you were using, right? And take with. So, and then on the other hand, obviously, if they were not being homeschooled, then that's a whole nother life there that has its own challenges. I would imagine. I can conceptualize what those would be as well. So, but I'm thankful that even with all of this and homeschooling, I did have that flexibility to be able to say, okay, we're going to do school this way, right? We're going to modify, we're going to meet the needs that you have in a way that
car school.
Yeah, car school, right. I didn't feel that they would be able to get otherwise. So definitely, yeah. So let's go on to the next one though. How was the transfer process to the next duty station? So like when you got the diagnosis in Naples and you were sent to San Diego, how was that transfer process? It should have been handled.
It was pretty seamless. We had San Diego is really great. I mean, I wish we could live there forever, but their resources are they're phenomenal. I can't speak to any other places, but just San Diego in general, a lot of resources for neurodiverse children, even if you're not military. The EFMP program specifically, it was a seamless handoff. The pediatricians already knew. I didn't have to like prove anything. They knew it was in the system.
It was in the system. So you didn't have to restart that whole process again because it just traveled with you, right? Okay. And at some point, the military stopped sending us with those thick blue folders of medical records, the medical records
Oh,
folder.
right,
And now
right.
everything is like in the computer,
Digitized.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember like my son's eye records were like this, and they went everywhere when we moved,
Right.
when we fly, wherever, right? They were
That's
right
how
there.
it was. That's how it was for my son. Also, all the other kids, very thin,
Yes.
have their files. His was like cute. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is your whole, this entire folder for you.
Yeah.
So it was much better once it was digitized.
Okay.
Didn't have to carry
Okay.
that with me.
Carry
I
it around.
still I still have a copy like somewhere in the garage. Just
Me too. Yeah. Yeah. Because you
but
just don't. It's like, yeah, you
you never
don't
know.
know. Oh, right. Exactly. Definitely.
People.
I hear you. So, welcome everyone that's coming. Let us know where you're joining from. Put your comments there put your questions in the comment section for us. We'll get to them shortly. So, we already talked a little bit about how, as a homeschooling family, your family benefited from, the program. But is there anything else comes to mind about that and how that we may not have covered?
I mean, I think it just helped me to not feel like I was by myself
Yes.
navigating, first of all, this new world of special needs,
Yes.
how to get resources. They kind of educated me on it, and they told me to pick and choose. Like I said, they offered way more than I needed, which was
Right.
great. That was a great option to have. There was just so much information.
Yeah.
They kind of just were able to funnel it in a way that I appreciated that.
Good. Good. And one thing is, I always felt like, I know for some, a whole lot of information can be overwhelming, but I was always like, I'd rather have more and be able to pick and choose
Right.
even the activities, what we could do, what we couldn't do, versus having to say, hey, you have anything going on this month? What's happening? Right?
Having to beg,
Exactly.
kind of put it together yourself, especially when you're moving to a new place where you don't know anything. You don't even know how to get anywhere without a GPS. So finding those just finding the play group, having it all there. It's one less thing.
One less thing to worry about. Exactly. Okay. All right. So, did you feel like at some point that your son aged out of participating in?
Yes, I would say yes and no,
Okay.
because I think if we had stayed in San Diego, he wouldn't have aged out because they have so many options and resources and groups play because he was in a play group for like ages 7 to 12. Then they had another one for 15. Once
Got it.
we moved to Jacksonville, it was mainly under 12, the little
Wow.
social groups. So he did age out, but that's only because we moved.
Right. Right.
As far as speech therapy, I would say again, yes and no. I feel like he still needed it because he was meeting on paper. He was meeting the criteria. The speech therapist was like, "Oh, you just need to practice." Type of thing.
Mhm.
But again,
Mhm.
if we had stayed in San Diego, they're just more vigilant. It's just
Got
I
it.
guess it's an independent practice.
Right.
See if they want
Right.
to it. But I'd say yes. And
Okay.
some of I'd say the large group is under 12.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
makes it difficult for the older kids to, you can't really connect with someone 5 or 6 years younger.
Right. 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 Yeah. And just developmentally as they get older, you start to see that in the
Right,
homeschool community, right? Where everybody
right,
was so much
right,
easier in some ways when they were younger because like park days, play dates, everything was just
right.
like,
Everybody plays together. But once they're
yeah,
60, even now, and they're 17, and they're homeschool groups, and the kids are it's nice, but it's like it's not really
yeah,
you can't really talk about the same things. It's not
right,
really developmentally in the same place. So,
right, right. Exactly. It's hard. And they're seniors too. So they kind of,
yeah.
in that stage too. So it kind of depends. So now the next question too, we kind of have gotten to it in our conversation already, but the next one that I had was, did enrollment prohibit relocation to certain duty stations? And so we did just talk about that based on that
Mm.
1 through 5. And I've been told you and I both, well, we're retired Navy, been a year now, wow. But we're, the Navy community, I've been told basically the EFMP program across all branches, it's what I call purple. It's just that the rankings, like the number and the levels are, I think, termed differently or something to that effect. But in general, I've been told it's a DoD program. So it pretty much is pretty similar across all the branches of the military.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so basically we talked about that, about the relocation and how that can, when we were at Camp Pendleton again, there was a family that was a five and they had been there for years and they really wanted to be able to move somewhere else. But like you just said, the difference between San Diego and Jacksonville, where Jacksonville is not a small, I mean, it's a big city, but
It's a big
compared,
city.
of course, to San Diego, it just didn't have the same resources, but it's a hub. It's a major hub for Navy, you know.
Right.
Um,
So it
so,
even like when after Jacksonville, we moved to Panama City because
okay,
he went down to like a level 3, I think, or even 2.
okay.
And Panama City had even less resources.
Had even
It's
less
very
resource.
small, which was fine just because he didn't have the need. But
Right.
the social skills group would have been nice. But
Would have been
you
nice
know,
to still have that.
it would
Exactly.
have been nice. But you're also limited, so it's like a catch-22. You're
Right.
also limited in the places you can go.
Where did you all go again? Was it Millington after Panama City? Do I have that right? Where did you go after Panama City?
Yes, yeah, well, that's where we are now,
That's where
Millington,
we are now, right?
Tennessee. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
And he's not. I guess technically he's still on the EFMP, but we don't utilize any service. He's you know situated from speech therapy and everything else, so it's just
Right.
there if we need it. If we ever need to
Right.
reach back.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Okay. Now, I also, when I was, we had our first Facebook Live on special needs that I referenced earlier at the beginning of this, and it was with, like I mentioned, Mirage Schmidt. And she mentioned a little bit about they have a tool now. I don't know if with your son being older and you don't, use the program as much as you needed to when he was younger, but it's the EFMP and Me tool. Are you at all familiar with that at all?
No, I'm not. I think that's a newer tool.
That's
Didn't
what I
hear
was
about.
thinking. Okay, okay. Everything's kind of becoming like more, techie and appy and
Right.
right.
Yeah,
I don't even know if
there's an
that's a
app.
word, appy, right? But
There's an app for everything now.
there's an app for everything. So I'm thinking that that is it. But if you're watching you all and you haven't heard of that and you still are, your kids are young and you still are really, really using the EFMP program, look into that tool, EFMP and then me, ME. So I don't know a lot about it. We did talk about it on that first live that we did in it would have been November. So if you want to go back, all of our military lives and webinars live on our YouTube channel. We have a military playlist on YouTube under HSLDA. Go to the playlist. It's at the top and it's the military playlist. So you can find all the past lives and information there. So you mentioned briefly about the respite services. Do you know much about that? And did you all, I think you said that you all did not need to use that though.
Well, they offered just to us just as an option. They said that if we ever needed, basically seemed like babysitting service.
Okay.
They would keep if we just needed a break, date night to. I think it even offered a couple of nights,
Okay.
overnight type situation.
Right.
No, we just never used it, we never utilized
Right.
it. It
Never
was
really
good to
used
know if you
if you needed it.
if we needed it, but we were just never okay with strangers and our kids. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
like I said, it was good to have the option. Like if I really felt I needed a mental health,
Right.
it's
Right.
good to have
I understand.
just in case.
I understand. Yeah. Again, it goes into that option, right? Into that toolkit. I see. I'm looking over. I'm scrolling over to comments, and I see someone I know, Delisha Walker. Hey, Delisha, thanks for joining us. I see what she put there. We're gonna get to the comments. I appreciate that, though. Thank you for jumping on, Delisha. Thank you so much. So, But yeah, and I want to hear any more info that you want to put in the comments about rest. But I see what Delisha put and Whitney, so thank you so much. Because it again, these are optional. These are resources that you have, and the more options you have, the more resources is good. You can pick and choose. And I know that if we may not be comfortable, right, with people we don't know well watching our children, but we know with military life, situations come up where that's the best of the best that you got, right? That's, I
Right.
mean, you only have a small amount of resources sometime. I know situations where, I've been as a military spouse, you have the deployment or the deployment gets extended, or, you have that, I got to deploy in 24 hours kind of craziness that happens, right, in military life. And you just don't know. So, you know, one of the things I
And I do
always
want to
encourage, right?
I do want to add that my husband doesn't deploy. So
Okay,
that's why I was able to I was able to go for the day on Saturday and just
right.
not have to worry about, caretaking. So
Yes.
that's a large reason why, again,
That
it
wasn't,
wasn't
you
an
didn't
option
really need it.
for us.
Right.
But like I said, I really appreciate the place
That
because
they had it.
I
Exactly.
see it
Yep.
being useful.
Yeah, I hear you. I definitely hear you. So, also apparently there's a podcast now. So I don't know if you've had a chance or needed to listen to it because, like again, we've said your son has gotten older and now he's a senior. So, but if anyone also in the chat has listened to the podcast, you can also talk about that as well in the comments. Um, but that definitely is another way that they are reaching, families in ways that they didn't have before. And podcasts are super popular, so that's a good. I think conceptually, that's a good resource to have.
The more resources, the better. And especially
Oh,
hearing from different points of view, different stages, the categories 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's just category 1 to 3 now.
yeah.
Just hearing information every little bit.
Well, right. Okay. Um, did you want to share a little bit about IEP just from your experience? I don't know, if did you have to have one for the EFMP or did they help you get one,
No,
or was that totally separate processes?
I think it was separate, but again, I don't know. It was if it was because we were homeschooled. I mean, my
Gotcha.
kids homeschooled. So
Right.
once we always just used the diagnosis. I just carried the diagnosis I needed to do. So once he was in 6th grade, he went to a charter school that was for homeschoolers. It's
Right.
like
Okay.
he attended 2 to 3 days a week, and that school created an IEP for him,
Okay.
which I showed them the diagnosis, created an IEP, and that was helpful. But as
Got
far
it.
as IEP and EFMP being connected, I
Yeah.
didn't.
There was no, okay.
It was
I just wanted to bring that up because I know sometimes families, someone asked when we posted in one of the military groups that I'm a part of, military homeschool group, someone had a question. So I said, oh, let me come and bring it to the live in case somebody else has the question. So it's time for us to get over to the chat. You all have been so patient to the comments there. And Keisha, if you have anything else you want to share, feel free. I know we had the questions, but feel free if something comes up or any of these questions. I'm just going to scoot over here to our comments. Let me get my mouse to work, and I'm going to go at the top. And okay, Pink Love has testing requirements for special needs. I'm not sure specifically, Pink Love, can you kind of give a little bit more about the question there? Are you asking if EFMP has requirements or do they do testing? I want to make sure I'm understanding. Unless Keisha, do you know anything, any ideas about what she might
well,
be?
well. If you're asking what types of tests
Maybe
were
so. Maybe
given,
so.
um, I believe I don't know the names of them. It's something. I know they had an IQ test. There's something called a WASC. It's basically a cognitive test. Son was given.
Got you.
He also kind of role played because his diagnosis was high functioning autism. So
Okay.
he basically put some toys and was asking him to role play with the toys to see plays with others.
Okay.
I believe that was pretty much it, just
Okay.
to get a glimpse of, and of course they were probably just conversation. But again, my son, he was young, he was so I don't know how
Yes.
much conversation you're gonna
He was
get
gonna
from a
get into it,
7-year-old.
right?
You're not gonna get much.
Right.
That was I don't know how they scale it, how they decide who group
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not privy
Gotcha.
to us.
Right, right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, who else do we have? We have Whitney Landis. Thanks for joining us, Pink Love and Whitney. I appreciate that. Langley Air Force Base. Okay, Hampton Roads area. And then Jana Kelsey says, coming from San Diego, PCSing to Mayport, Keisha, have an autistic toddler in speech and OT, exceptional family member, trying to make sure the transition is smooth. And then she goes on to say a few more comments. We're diagnosed level 2, trying to find the right preschool near base. They told us level 3, one being the highest. He is moderate need, but will need behavioral as well. We are sad about not having overseas. Oh, I understand that. We have we have similar options for places to go. I guess similar to what you mentioned earlier is what I'm
Right,
thinking that she's saying. But being diagnosed, um, from what it looks like, being diagnosed CONUS, right, or stateside, yours was you already overseas, so you had the opportunity to be over there. So once if you're CONUS and you get diagnosed over here, it actually
right.
may mean what we talked about earlier, that you may not get an overseas assignment. And then yeah, sorry, 3 being highest, 1 being lowest. Sun is 2.5. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for your comments. Yes.
Yeah, we
Trying
we
to find
found a
the right.
lot of we found some really good speech therapists in Mayport. I mean, not in
Mhm.
Mayport, but in that area. So I was very grateful.
In that area of, yeah, in Mayport. Okay. Which is not, if I remember, because we did stay at Mayport at the lodge there. We would always try to stay at the military lodges because, right, family, right? Cost,
Right.
expense, right? So it's not that far from Jacksonville. What, 30 minutes
No,
over?
it's depending on what part. We lived 10 minutes
10 minutes. Okay.
Mayport. So Jacksonville is huge. It's actually the largest city as
Yeah,
far as
that's what I'm thinking,
space
right?
is concerned. It's
Yeah,
huge. You can
yeah.
you can spend close to an hour still be in Jacksonville.
Get it. Okay. Let's see. Anyone new coming in, go ahead and let us know where you're joining from. You can put in the comments any questions. We're just going to the comments now. If you missed the earlier part, all of this will reside with the other YouTube. Let me get this right. This live will reside with the other Facebook lives on our military playlist on HSLDA YouTube. So let's see here. Patricia, thanks for joining from Fort Bragg. Okay, are you part of Valor homeschool group there at Fort Bragg? And then Whitney says, we were stationed in Germany when our daughter was born with spina bifida, had no idea. We're now stationed at Langley. Okay, that's the one that was at Langley. We thoroughly enjoyed events held by EFMP department, especially because my husband deploys often. So here we are, military life. That's what we were talking about, right? And then later I see she says, we love respite care. See how it's relevant, right? But your husband doesn't deploy, so that's why, like you said, that was you were able. He was your respite, right? He
Right. Yeah.
was your respite.
Built-in respite.
It built in respite. Yes, gotta say thanks for that. I mean, it's hard military life. We don't always have. They can't control it, right? They don't always have any control over that. So, Whitney, my heart goes out to you, and I'm glad that you have used the EFMP program and that you're using the respite and getting that break when you need it. It's okay to take a break. It helps us homeschool even better when we are refreshed, right? So definitely, I appreciate that comment. And then Delisha, I shouted you out. Thank you for popping on. Um, Shannon Taylor Island, MacDill Air Force Base, Navy family. Awesome, MacDill. Are you with the homeschool support group there at MacDill? I had been in communication with the leader there. So thanks for joining on. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, you all. And then Delisha says again, Mayport, Jacksonville has great resources and homeschooling options. And so I don't know where you are now, Delisha. I lost track, but I know that you were there at one point when you after you left this Fort Belvoir area where I am now. And so, yeah, so she's speaking to that area as well. Um, and I don't know if you all knew each other because it's a large area, so you may not have met together while you were there, Keisha. But yeah. And then Elizabeth Wilkinson, thank you for joining. It says, hi, currently at Fort Sheridan, Illinois, moving to Fort Lee, Virginia Army. Our youngest son has Down syndrome. Okay. All right. All right. Definitely. So glad that you joined us. And if you want to, if you have any questions or whatever, please put them in the comments. We got just a few more minutes that will be live. And then Delisha, you're back in Hampton Roads. Okay, you know how the military, right? You go,
You
go.
end up.
Yes, yes. And I always say for my Marine Corps family, because with us being a Navy chaplains family, we had 2 assignments stationed with the Marine Corps. And so I would always say the Marine Corps families, there's only a few, right, duty stations. They just kind of rotate. But some people go from Camp Pendleton, West Coast, to Camp Lejeune, East Coast, and back and back. And they don't have a lot of options. So, I understand. I understand how that is. So they're back at Hampton Roads. Okay. And Elizabeth says, thank you. I'll go back and watch. Definitely. You are so welcome. So if anyone else has joined, we're going to be closing out, but you can still put your comments there. And during the replay, like I mentioned, you can also put comments or questions. Whitney says, my husband is Air Force, so we don't move often. Let me see if I can get it cut off. The rest of your comment, it'll pop up in a minute, but it cut off there. So we know this is topic, like most all our topics, we could just talk about a whole lot more. Support is everything. And that's one of the things with these military Facebook Lives. I'm thinking, okay, I'm a military, homeschooling mom, even though my husband retired a year ago, after 34 years and then 22 years, this is 22 years of homeschooling as a military homeschooler, right? And so I think, okay, what are the topics? What are the things that will be relevant to my fellow military homeschoolers? So you all can help me with that. As you're watching now, you can put in the comments topics that would be relevant for future Facebook Lives or even webinars, things that you feel would be helpful for you to know and engage in, as well as anybody watching the replay. Please put the comments there. I see Patricia says, just started homeschooling in April. He is in 8th grade. I have joined Valor, but haven't participated. We will be PCSing to DC, husband going to the Pentagon, so not sure where we will be living. Okay, I hear you. Well, definitely separate from my hat here with HSLDA, I'm president at Fort Belvoir Home Educators, and that's in Alexandria area, Fairfax County, Northern Virginia. So if you come over this way, tap me on the shoulder, say, hey, I'm Patricia. I was on one of the HSLDA lives, and I, welcome you and be able to be a resource, even if you don't decide to join Fort Belvoir Home Educators. Definitely, I can support you. All right, so reach out, please, if you need any help. Okay, so I appreciate you so much, Keisha. Thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation and saying yes
Not a
to
problem.
me.
No, it was
Yeah,
a pleasure. It was a pleasure. It's interesting looking back. I just remember not the panic, but kind of the panic when he first got the diagnosis, and now,
right,
10 years later,
right.
I'm much more at peace. I have more options. I have resources. So
Yes. Yeah, over the
look
time.
down memory lane.
Look down memory lane. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And being able to speak into other moms, right? Other homeschooling
Right.
moms' life that, acknowledge getting that diagnosis, whatever it is there's an adjustment to that takes place. And there's a lot of time spent understanding the diagnosis and making sure that you're getting the right help that is needed for your child or children, right? Because some families have children with multiple children with diagnoses, right? And so
Right.
in military life, like we said, there's the good and the bad, right? And so it's hard, especially with the constant relocation and deployments and all of those things, and support changing, right, from like you said, from
Right.
San Diego to Jacksonville, the level of support. So I definitely know. So I appreciate that you are out there and that you said yes to my ask. I appreciate that. So I hope this conversation was informative for all of those that are watching and that have joined us. Thank you so much for you all joining. Please share the live out into your homeschool community or friends, and definitely take a look at the HSLDA YouTube, the military playlist. You can find all the other ones we've done. Give me some comments as to any ones for the future that would be helpful for you. We are always taking recommendations from my fellow military homeschoolers. And so we know that as military homeschool families that we face unique challenges. At HSLDA, we're working hard to develop resources that will help you find connection and encouragement. So one of the things we do is we maintain a growing list of homeschool groups. You can search for overseas OCONUS military support groups, as well as state and local ones, which we call CONUS, right? And so what I do ask is if anyone watching is a leader of a military homeschool group, or you are in one and you know the leader, let that person know I'm looking for them, because we are trying to increase the number of military homeschool support groups in our directory. So please definitely feel comfortable reaching out to me. I'll give the email. It will pop up in the chat in a minute, probably. Also, HSLDA members, we know, have access to a great legal team and fantastic educational consultants. I was one of them as a high school consultant, that we can help military families like yours through questions and challenges that may come up in your homeschooling stateside or overseas. If you're not already a member of HSLDA, we would love for you to join us. And definitely, we're going to put in the chat there how you can find out more and join. It is going to be hslda.org/join. And because this is a military focused Facebook Live, those who are military, there's a particular link that will take you right to the military discount that HSLDA offers. And that is hslda.org/military discount. So I'll say those again. I don't see them coming up in the chat. It just depends. We may not have anyone that can do it. So I'm not going to worry about it. We can put them later. But to join, if you're not military, hslda.org/join. If you are military, you want to access the discount, then it is hslda.org/military discount. It's all one. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and close it out, because I was looking, I mentioned about the Facebook Lives. I see a comment from Delisha, says, thank you, Keisha, there. And then Patricia says, absolutely, I love to pick your brain. Yeah, definitely contact me. Okay, you can contact me via email if reference HSLDA, military@hslda.org. That's my military inbox, military@hslda.org. Very simple. And definitely, I would love to get you connected to our resources. If you didn't get that link, or you later forget it, you can email me to get the link to join, and we will support you as much as we can. So, Keisha, again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it.
No
And I miss
problem.
you. I miss you. It's hard. The separations are hard, but I appreciate you were able to come up to Old Town and hang out in Alexandria, where your son was
Right. Right.
doing things. So
Last
maybe
summer.
yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get down to Millington. I don't know. Definitely.
You
So
never know. Never.
you never know. Never know. So everyone that's been watching, thank you so much for watching us. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we will be back next. I think I mentioned at the beginning, we will be back next month. Let me go back up to, I'm trying to remember. I don't want to remember wrong, but next month we will be back live, and we're going to be talking about navigating TRICARE for your special needs family. So we have a guest that is coming on, another military homeschooling spouse that will be coming on and talking about her experiences navigating TRICARE and getting the resources that you need and getting TRICARE to do what they are supposed to do and cover what you need, right? And so you are so welcome, everyone. Thank you so much. And we are now done. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.